My name is Giacomo Calanni, and I'm a partner and wardrobe consultant with the Tom James Clothing Company. And I'm happy to come to you on First Service Residential's Lifestyles at Home. Today, we'll be discussing the 3 most basic tie knots, how to tie them, and who should be wearing each one. Let's get started. The first of the 3 knots I'll be discussing is the full Windsor knot. The full Windsor is traditionally the larger of the 3 knots. It should be worn by someone with a little bit more narrow of a face, and also be worn with a more widespread collar.
There are 2 ends to your tie, the skinny end and the wide end. First, place the wide end in your right hand, skinny end in your left. The skinny end should fall around the middle of your rib cage. The shorter it is, the longer your tie will end up. The longer the skinny end is, the shorter your tie will end up after tying the knot. A good rule of thumb is that after the knot is made, the tie should fall to the top of your waistband. Cross the wide end over the skinny end, place the skinny end on the other side, creating an X. Now pass the wide end of the tie through the hole you've created at the top of the X and pull it through. Cross the wide end underneath the skinny end, loop it through the hole at the top, and pull it through. If your knot is now in the shape of a triangle, you've done good so far. Now place the wide end on top of your right hand. It should be facing stitch side up, and with the same hand, grab the skinny end. With your left hand, cross the wide end over the top of the knot and pass it through the back through the hole. Take the wide end of the tie in your right hand, loosen the knot you have created just a little bit, and feed it through the space you've created. At this point, technically your knot is completed, but let's make it aesthetically pleasing. A well-done full Windsor knot should look like an upside-down triangle with a dimple at the bottom. To achieve this, place the index finger from your left hand in the middle of the tie where it exits the knot. Place your thumb and middle finger on both sides of the tie. Place your right hand at the bottom of the knot, squeeze, and with your left hand, pull the tie gently through a little bit further. For the final step, fold your collar over the tie. A common misconception is that the collar needs to be buttoned first before the collar is flipped over. This will just make it more difficult to flip the collar over and will eventually break the band of the collar. Now button the top button. With your left hand, squeeze the bottom of the knot. With your right, pull on the skinny end, tightening the tie. There you have it, a full Windsor knot. Something to keep in mind is depending on the fabric and thickness of the tie, the knot itself will vary in size. You'll also find that some ties will hold the dimple better than others. I've found the silkier or smoother of the finish on the tie, the less likely it will hold a dimple.
The second of the 3 knots is the half Windsor. The half Windsor is a little bit smaller than the full Windsor. It's appropriate for most facial structures and should be worn with a medium spread collar.
The half Windsor starts exactly like the full Windsor. Wide end in your right, skinny end in the left. Cross the wide end over the skinny end, place the skinny end on the other side, creating an X. Now pass the wide end of the tie through the hole you've created at the top of the X and pull it through. This is where the half Windsor differs from the full Windsor. We are skipping the step where we would take the wide end and pass it under and over top on the other side. And we are going straight to passing the wide end underneath and across the front of the face of the knot. With your right hand, hold the knot in place and loop the wide end under and over top through the hole. Now, just like with the full Windsor, open a little space on the knot, pass the wide end through, create your dimple, squeeze, and tighten. Flip your collar over, button the top, squeeze and tighten your tie, and there you have it, half Windsor.
The last knot is the 4-in-hand knot. This is the smallest of the three. It should be worn by someone with a more round face, as well as with a more narrow collar.
The 4-in-hand knot starts just like the previous two. But keep in mind, since this is a smaller knot and requires less steps, your skinny end of the tie should be longer to start than with the half Windsor or with the full Windsor. Cross the skinny end underneath the wide end, make the X just like before, place the skinny end in your left, wide in the right, cross under and across the face, loop it under and over the top through the hole, create some space in the knot, pass it through, create your dimple, squeeze, pull, and tighten. Flip your collar over, button the top button, squeeze and tighten, there you have the 4-in-hand knot.
I hope you enjoyed learning about these 3 basic tie knots. Thank you for joining me on First Service Residential's Lifestyles at Home. My name is Giacomo Calanni with the Tom James Clothing Company. Reach out to me for special promotions on custom suits, sport coats, and shirts for First Service Residential residents. Take care.